So y'all mean to tell me that a healthy, happy woman will willingly choose to spend the rest of her life by herself? Like, is that what we're saying? So being single by choice is very real, right? You can be in your single season. You can decide, like, I'm just, living my life, not ready for a relationship, not interested in a relationship, and that's okay. But there's one thing to say, that this is the choice that I'm making, that I want to spend the rest of my life by myself, no husband, no kids, no nothing, just me, myself, and I find it hard to believe. It sounds like a lot of bitter, broken, unhealed, unhappy women. And instead of joining all these movements, how about you join a therapy group? How about you hit up that number on the back of your insurance card if you have insurance and find out where you can find you a therapist, because that's what you need. I don't, it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Like, it don't make sense.
So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always sticking around. Guys, today's video, we're just going to be talking about this lady here. We're going to dive right into this video. So this lady went on saying she don't know why healthy and happy women want family and don't prefer the single life.
So y'all mean to tell me that a healthy, happy woman will willingly choose to spend the rest of her life by herself? Like, is that what we're saying? So being single by choice is very real, right? You can be in your single season. You can decide, like, I'm just, living my life, not ready for a relationship, not interested in a relationship, and that's okay. But there's one thing to say, that this is the choice that I'm making, that I want to spend the rest of my life by myself, no husband, no kids, no nothing, just me, myself, and I find it hard to believe. It sounds like a lot of bitter, broken, unhealed, unhappy women. And instead of joining all these movements, how about you join a therapy group? How about you hit up that number on the back of your insurance card if you have insurance and find out where you can find you a therapist, because that's what you need. I don't, it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Like, it don't make sense. Spend the rest of her life by herself.
Yes, a woman can be happy without being someone's wife, girlfriend, and mother. The reason why you find that so hard to believe is because you do not see the value of woman outside of being a wife, a girlfriend, and a mother. This isn't a woman's problem. This is a you problem. You define a woman's worth based on her proximity to the male phallus, okay? You are what we call male identified. There's nothing wrong with the women who choose to not have a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, or children. There is something wrong with you.
You mean to tell me that a healthy, happy woman will willingly choose to spend the rest of her life by herself? Like,
it's always interesting when someone asks a question and the answer to their question was in their question. You said a healthy, happy woman. A healthy, happy woman is living her life on her own terms and knows what she wants. So if that's the life that she's choosing, it's because that's what she wants. And I always find it crazy to hear women describe other women who are not in a relationship and or don't have children as lonely. I think it says more about the person than the person they're talking about. Because if the only way that you can feel not lonely is in a romantic relationship or being a mother, that means that you didn't foster any relationships outside of the dynamic of a romantic partnership. Every single woman or woman without children is not lonely. In fact, I think that to be a successful wife or mother, you should actually water the relationships you have before you go into those roles. Because navigating your friendships, your relationship with your family, and other people that you interact with on a daily basis is grounds for how you're going to navigate your relationship with your children and your husband. Being able to water those relationships and build healthy foundations will lead to a better chance of you having a healthier relationship with your partner or your children. Exploring yourself, learning your boundaries, learning how to communicate, learning how to deal with confrontation are all things that you should probably work on before you get into romantic relationships or have children. Not to mention, a lot of women are choosing to be single because they've already been in a relationship and realize that maybe that's not the lifestyle that they want forever. Or some may want a romantic relationship and just deciding that it's better to be single until they find exactly what they're looking for. And some people are just content being by themselves as far as living. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you ask a lot of mothers if they could live by themselves, a lot of them would tell you yes. If you ask a lot of wives if there was an option for them to live by themselves, a lot of them would tell you yes. Just say that you don't find peace in being by yourself and don't put it on other people. And when it comes to children, the notion that every woman needs to be a mother is asinine. There are plenty of people who want to have children or are going to have children. You don't have to speak to the women who are content not being mothers. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to be a mother or wanting to find a husband. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting a husband, wanting children, wanting to be a mother. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start questioning why somebody else doesn't want that, you have to look deep inside yourself and ask you why you feel lonely without those things. I just feel like this. I don't see any happily married women questioning single women or women without children about their decisions to be single or without children. I know a lot of women on all ends of the spectrum when it comes to single versus married versus in a relationship versus partners, children or not children. And this is not to say I don't know a lot of happily married women or women that are happy in their relationships, but I could genuinely say I do know a lot of women who are staying in the relationship for a number of reasons that are not good. A lot of the reasons include money, insecurity, codependency, or just feeling stuck or like their life would be worse if they had to do everything on their own. And that's a very hard conversation for a lot of women to have. It's a very hard thing for a lot of women to admit. But y'all know I've talked about this before. There's not a lot of quality men to choose from. There are some great men. I'm never going to say there aren't some great men that exist. And even just talking about bare minimum stuff, has a job, somewhat educated, takes care of his business, wants to be nurturing, loving, and show reciprocity in a relationship. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of men like that. Not to mention, a lot of women, our bad experiences with men start well before we're even dating age. So a lot of women have to deal with the trauma of being sexually harassed or worse from when you were kids all the way to adulthood. Now add on having to deal with dating experience that might not be ideal, marriages that might not have been ideal, or just interactions with men that could possibly turn you off. And above everything, some people just don't want to be in a relationship. Your whole being doesn't have to revolve around being in a relationship with a man. Some women just want a warm body every once in a while. Want a relationship, and there's nothing. I think when it becomes a problem is when you think because you seek a relationship or marriage or kids that there's something wrong with women who don't necessarily seek that. And I've talked about this before as well, that I think a lot of women would choose to be a mother on their own. If money wasn't an issue and they had a village, they would choose to be a mother without a partner. I think marriage can be very beautiful. I think having a partner can be amazing. But I also think being single and doing whatever you want could be amazing for somebody too. So many women feed into the thought that all women are the same and want the same things. But meanwhile, men are praised for being bachelors their whole life and never having to settle down and not having that goalpost. And because a lot of women are brainwashed from such a young age, they feel like something's wrong with them if they don't reach the quote unquote milestone of getting married and having kids, when in actuality, that's a personal milestone. It's not an overall milestone. And last but not least, people can change their mind. People go through phases. You can be so in love with somebody and y'all could grow apart from each other and go a different way in your life later on. You could be free as a bird and love your freedom and later on decide maybe you want companionship and change your mind later. There's billions of people on the earth.
So y'all mean to tell me that a healthy, happy woman will willingly choose to spend the rest of her life by herself? Like, is that what we're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what we're saying. She then goes on to say that she thinks that women who don't want marriage and don't want kids are bitter, unhappy, unhealed, etc. and so on. She then very condescendingly tells women to go seek therapy. She tells them, look at the number on the back of your insurance card and get yourself a therapist. She says it in a very condescending and rude manner. Who talks to people like that? Anyway, it's actually in therapy that a lot of women understand and finally realize that they don't need to be somebody's mother, they don't need to be somebody's girlfriend or somebody's wife in order to be happy or fulfilled. Being in a healthy relationship can bring you happiness, being a mother can bring you happiness, but you also need to be able to find happiness within yourself. We're basically brainwashed from the time that we're children to believe that a woman's role is to be somebody's mother and wife and to be somebody's caretaker, and that if we don't get those things, oh, there's something wrong with you. Oh, you're 35 and you don't have a husband? Oh, something's wrong with you. Women who are actually happy and healthy understand that they don't need validation from things outside of themselves. If you're seeking validation from a man, you might never be happy because you can't control whether a man likes you or loves you. Also, being single does not mean being alone. There are plenty of single women who have lots of friends and family, they have hobbies. There are other things that they do to fulfill their social needs outside of romantic relationships. She says that she just doesn't understand it, how women can be happy and healthy without wanting these things. And it's not for you to understand. Just live your life and leave other women alone. I think it's really dangerous to base your self-worth and your happiness on things external to you, or whether or not you fill prescribed roles that society tells us we're supposed to fill. Because, not that I would wish this on anyone, but your child could be unalived in a school pew-pewing, or your husband could wake up tomorrow and decide that he doesn't love you anymore and he wants a divorce. Then what are you going to do when you don't fill those roles anymore? Are you just going to be miserable for the rest of your life? She seems like a very male-centered person. I've noticed that a lot of people that think this way tend to be very conservative or religious and basically just brainwashed by society and by the patriarchy specifically. If you went to therapy, maybe the therapist could help you understand how you can be happy and how you can be healthy without needing to fill these roles that society tells you you're supposed to fill as a woman.
So y'all mean to tell me that a healthy, happy woman will willingly choose to spend the rest of her life by herself?
Hey, maybe you, this is a genuine response to this video. There are other relationships that are fulfilling for people that are not husband or children. People have friendships, you have community, you may have teammates if you're on a sports league, you may have a hobby that you do. Some people like to garden, they meet with other gardeners. There's a whole gardening association in everywhere, really. You can just look up gardening association in your state and find people who do that. There's lots and lots of ways to bond and connect and feel fulfilled that are not a man or children. And that is coming from someone who lives with and shares my life with a man non-romantically and 3 children. I believe I have a very fulfilling life. And I believe my life was fulfilling before I had children and before I had a man in my life. We all hopefully get to make our own decisions about our lives and what fulfills us and makes us happy. And because we are all different people, we're all going to feel differently about what is fulfilling and happiness for each of us. Happiness is different depending on the person. I mean, even all the people that live in my house have different likes. We don't all like steak. We don't all like potatoes. We don't all like the exact same things. The exact same things don't make us all happy. And that goes for everyone in the world. What's good for one person could be a nightmare for another. Do what's best for you. And if you don't understand something, it's just not for you. And that's okay too.
Tell me that a healthy, happy woman will willingly choose to spend the rest of her life by herself.
I just want to say, if you guys watched the whole video, she has her way of thinking things. But what I will say this, it just hurts me to see other women can't be happy for women who decides to choose to not have kids. Now, when it comes to me, if you're wondering, I'm in the middle. I don't know if I do want to have them or if I don't. I definitely look at a lot of my family members and a lot of my friends, and all of them have kids, but they're not married. I think I only have 2 friends that are married and that are happily married. Then on top of that, I'm a nanny. Out of all the years, I'm 33 years old. Out of all the years that I have nannied, I can count on one hand how many husbands were good to their wives. So me being a nanny, I have seen the behind the scenes of how the way men work. I look at having a beautiful child, but then I look at the fact if my child is throwing up, boo-booing, teething, earache, just being sick in general. Well, I have a husband that can be able to come in and save the day. I look at so many women that have 2, 3 kids. They have to chug-a-lug all them kids in the car, go into the grocery store, get all them groceries, and they do it out of love because they love their kids. I'll do the same damn thing. But where the damn husband at? That's if they even married. And shoot, you even got the ones that get married, and the man still treat them like shit. So then it comes down to it. I'm sitting in my house comfortably. I just came from Morocco and Paris, living my best life, And do I want to add that drama to my life? No, I don't. I like my peace. But the sad thing about it, women who have no kids always support the women that do have kids. But the ones that do have kids always want to look down at the one, and I will say some women, not all, but look down at the women who do not have kids. It's just like, damn, you birth a child and that man can't respect you. You could have died on the table and that man may not still respect you. Do I want to go through that? Not really. But would I like to have a clone of me? Of course. Who wouldn't? You know? Well, I take that back. It may be some people who just don't want kids, and that's cool. But to come on here on a platform of TikTok and tell women that don't want to have kids to go get therapy is something. Kind of has me wondering who else may need therapy. Because all my years of being a woman, it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. But all the women who decide to not have kids and be the rich auntie of where I'm stirring to be, is living their best life.